Making your way through work Monday takes everything you got. Then Monday night rolls around and you realize there's a shot. You're only 10 points away. All those times when your team had no fight, they're just so gosh darn frail. Then your star quarterback let another deep ball sail, and your third round pick bet on his team. Then go check out our streets where everybody knows your pain, and they listen to complaints. You wanna be where you can see our bodies bring you no shame. You wanna go where everybody knows your pain.
Welcome into another episode of Dad Bod Fantasy Squad. I am here with Robbie. Bobby, what's up, dude?
Mario. What's going on?
I was sitting here and I was thinking and I was listening to our intro, which we've gotten arguably, maybe not even arguable, the most feedback on and how great it is.
Yeah.
And so that's our best thing we got going for us. But I watch them like, damn, dude, there's no way I'm gonna be able to run this back next season. And we just have to sit through it and watch it, and it's old for me now.
I don't mind it.
I want to keep doing it though. I want season 2. I want season 2 of our intro.
Yeah, we'll pick another sitcom. Keep on moving.
Full House,
The Office, Seinfeld.
Ooh, that's a newer sitcom. That's a good point. Speaking of sitcom, I've been. This is kind of embarrassing, probably. I'm a huge Boy Meets World fan. My favorite sitcom. I didn't necessarily even get to watch it growing up. It was probably like teenage years that I really got to watch it and experience it, because I mean, it came out in 93.
Yeah.
We were a year old, and then it went to Disney, and I didn't have Disney when I was younger. So until I found out how to get it legal or maybe illegal on the internet, I didn't really get to watch it. But they have a podcast. Everybody has a podcast.
Yeah, I mean, you can find a podcast for any sitcom now.
Yeah, I didn't know how common this was. It's a rewatch sort of podcast. It's really cool though, and like even for like I would say half of it is Boy Meets World stuff, and half of it is like behind the scenes cool info on that sort of like job.
Who's on it?
It's the dude that plays Sean, the dude that plays Eric, so the older brother, and Topanga, and the three of them do it, and it's pretty interesting to listen to. I've been listening to it while working.
Okay, maybe I'll give it a go. I don't hate that.
Yeah, and like outside of our podcast, and not that we don't. In the off season, it's different, but in season, I find myself, if we ever listen to fantasy football podcasts, maybe I'm speaking for myself, I always I try not to listen to fantasy footballers, really enjoy them, or fans of any of those fantasy football podcasts, because sometimes it just gets stuck. It gets stuck, and you have the same, you just, without realizing, take their sort of approach on the situation or something.
Yeah. So, I've noticed that. Try to stay away from kind of not copying another analyst, but like you said, you subconsciously kind of say what they're saying without knowing it.
Yeah, it's like doing plagiarism without doing word for word. It's like cheating the system, and we can't do that with Boy Meets World, so that's good because neither of us are actors.
Hey,
well, Robbie's still got a future.
Never say never, right?
Yeah, look at him. All right, so we do have a good show for you guys today. We got to talk about this Thursday night football game coming up in an hour and 20 minutes. We have some of our best plays, some of our maybe wild sits, and those are both categories are very tough, right? I think Barkley and Chubb are the RBs that are 1-2 this week. But I can't. Everybody's starting them. You can't. That's not your best play.
No. We want to get into some more in-depth players that might be on the fringe, but we still think that they're going to have a really nice day.
Yeah. And then we got our DFS plays, which, Robbie, what's your record in DFS versus me for our 1 week doing it?
1 week. You got lucky.
No. Did you get the point total by chance? Because on my own, I kind of switched some things around, so I don't know my total points.
You keep talking. I will try to pull it up.
If you're new, we are doing a DFS weekly challenge. I can't wait to get into it from week 1 next year. I think it will be really interesting. I am much more... Robbie, this brings me to another point. I'm probably going to screw us up on time here. I am much more a late game player in fantasy. I am very much a late game player. I am active on waivers. I understand what's happening a lot more, but weeks 1 through 4, even like if I'm playing, my start sits suck.
Hey, buddy.
I gotta understand it. Did you
What's
win?
the record?
You didn't win. How? My team was awesome.
Shall we present?
Wait, what happened?
Dun, dun, dun.
Okay, make it a little bigger. Should be command scroll, maybe.
Nope.
You don't have a mouse, do you?
I could zoom. Where the fuck can I zoom in? Fuck it. Anyways.
Freaking Engram getting hurt. God bless it.
I got 120, so I won some money. You didn't win any money at 108.7. So, suck on that. And I had Dobbs go down.
Did you end up playing Michael Carter?
I did.
You switched your lineup.
No, I didn't. This was my original lineup.
I don't think it was. You gave me a weird face when you said Michael Carter last episode.
No, this was my original lineup.
I did switch my lineup. I didn't have Dobbs in, which helped me.
Oh.
I don't remember who else I benched, but man, that sucks.
Yeah. Sorry, buddy.
One.
So as he was talking shit, now we know the truth. I'm 1-0. I'm the high guy on the totem pole. Good luck, Mario. Coming back from this deficit.
What's the worst part about it is I thought the T-Law Christian Kirk stack I did 2 weeks ago, because I have been doing DFS all season. I thought I did that 2 weeks ago. And now that you showed me my lineup, I'm definitely running back the T-Law Kirk stack. No Engram this time, though.
Yeah. Well,
anyway, we'll get into that.
Yeah.
We'll get into that. Carolina versus Atlanta. They're in Atlanta? No, they can't be because it's got to be in Carolina.
Yeah, it's in Carolina.
What are we thinking here, dude? So the spread is Atlanta is -2.5. Over under is 41.
You want to know why I won?
Why?
My defense got me 26 points.
Oh yeah, the Patriots defense did really well, and you said that too. You said, I don't know how you said it, but you did talk up the Patriots defense. What's up, Albert?
Yeah, it was because they were playing the Colts, right?
Yeah.
Bill Belichick is notoriously good against young quarterbacks. Sam Ellinger was there. It was
I don't
an
think
easy
you could
play.
do the same play this week. I don't think you could do the Colts play this week.
I don't either because did they announce the starting quarterback?
I think it's gonna be Ellinger, but I mean,
I-
just in general, it's Vegas. Vegas defense just seems so bad right now.
Yeah, I'm not playing them. We'll get to my start.
Yeah. Okay. So, anyways, Atlanta -2.5. Over under is 41.5. This has gone down because of the weather. I believe it started the week 43.5.
I saw 44.
Maybe in 44. Carolina. What do we? DJ Moore is the big question mark here, right? This is well, it might not only be it, but go ahead and tell me, are you starting DJ Moore? Like, what are you expecting out of this game?
So I kind of made these notes prior to getting the weather news. With the weather and how everything is, it's super windy there. I don't think you can go and play him. My question for you, Mario, is kind of what's your outlook for the rest of the season for him?
No, I don't. It's really hard to say. Like, I know that's probably our job, right? Like, we should know what DJ Moore is going to be doing, but there's so many factors to this, right? It's layered. We have what quarterback is DJ Moore going to have? Because Darnold is his best, Baker's his most inconsistent, and PJ Walker's inconsistent. I mean, honestly, like I'm not going out and buying him. If that's a question you want to know for redraft, I'm not going out and buying him.
Do you think there's better days ahead?
I think the days are exactly what we've seen the past 5 weeks. Down, down, up, up, down. I think it's something like that.
Okay.
I believe that's what, like, I think the more big games are going to happen, but where do I think he finishes? Right around wide receiver 27 to 30.
Okay. So flex.
Yeah, I think he could be a flex. I don't know if I want to pay for that. Like, what the weird question is, like, if somebody does still have him, he may have even been dropped, but they're probably still going to charge a lot because why not? Like, they're like, well, he's starting to turn up.
Yeah, I don't think you can look at it as a trade for or sell kind of candidate anymore, especially in redraft, because a lot of those trade windows are closed. It's more so, is he going to be playable moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, we're going through Bimageddon right now. This week, next week, and we already went through one. And I believe those are the heaviest ones. Is this week and next week, I believe.
Last week was big.
Last week was two teams, I thought.
Or was it 2 weeks ago?
2 weeks ago was pretty rough.
Yeah.
I think last week was light, and then we have 2 tough ones coming up again. So yeah, you're gonna probably have areas where you're gonna be like, I'm putting them in my flex. To give you more info, I have him, and this is kind of crazy. This week I have him higher than T-Mac, even with the weather.
Yeah.
Because T-Mac plays Philly.
I don't hate that call. I mean, man, I was so excited when Heineke came in for T-Mac. He had the first game he started, T-Mac looked pretty good. And then, I don't know, man. It just seems like they can't get him the ball. I don't know if defenses are just super hyper focusing in on him. But I don't know. He's another one that it's kind of like, what do you do with him?
I was watching Inside the NFL, and I know we're getting off topic here, but like they had this like kind of conversation about Heineke, and he's like, he's playing good ball. Like the dude has always kind of played pretty good ball. Like it's not freaking Mahomes, but it's not Davis Mills. It's better than Davis Mills. It's better than Wentz, but it's nothing like.
Yeah, we talked about this Monday.
Him and Gardner, they're the same to me.
Yeah, we talked about it Monday. It's kind of like 2 QB leagues. I think he's an easy QB2 start. He's put up over 17 points in all 3 games that he's played. He has a game over 25. He's not, like, for fantasy purposes, he's pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, I think
you can do a lot worse.
As a quarterback, he's been pretty good.
Yeah.
Atlanta flip of the ball. I know we got off to Taylor Heineke. Are you playing Pitts? I see people going back and forth on this on Twitter.
Yeah.
Like if we start him, it's 2 for 17. If we bench him, it's 8 for 106 and a TD. I think that was Ian Hardett's tweet.
That's me, dude.
Yeah.
Me to a T. Remember I was like, I'm benching him in every league, so everyone should go start him, and then he goes off for that.
Are you benching him this week then?
I am.
Pitts starting week.
I am benching him for Dolchik.
I like it.
It's just, dude, I want to play him. I can't keep taking 4 points a week. You know, it's like 4, 5, 4. I think the consistent play will be Dolchik moving forward.
Yeah, I it's crazy, dude, but like there's tight situations where I think Pitts is droppable, and I know that like I could get slack for that, but he's like tight end 17 on the year.
19, I think.
Like it's bad, and there's nothing that says this will get better.
Yeah,
Mariota came out and said he's going to get the ball to him more.
That's the concerning part. Is like he had the one game, and then it's like, okay, let's go, and then he goes and does it. He has a 4-point week to follow it up. It's like, how can you trust this guy?
For me, it's been awful because it's somebody that I was like, you know what? I'm out on this. I don't trust the Mariota thing. And Robbie sends out an article and he's like, all right, buy low by week 3. So I bought low in a couple leagues.
I thought I was a genius.
I thought it was going to work out well too.
After the first 2 weeks, I was like, hell yeah, let's roll. Go buy him. Let's ride. Kyle Pitts, let's ride. And then, man, it's been a tough year. So look, I have him. I'm keeping him. He's going to sit on my bench. I hope things get better. Even if he comes out and has a really good week this week, I don't think I'll be able to play him next week. I think I need to see 2 weeks in a row of consistent targets. The good thing about even though he had a bad game last week, he still had 7 targets.
Yeah.
So that was encouraging.
He's actually been getting targets all year, really.
Yeah. So like the target share obviously is encouraging. It's like they just got to get him the ball and find ways to get him. I mean, he's open. It's just like you got to get him the ball. The guy is so talented. Like, just do it. And until we see it multiple weeks in a row, I can't trust it.
Yeah. And that's crazy because like Arthur Smith has gotten the most out of Cordarrelle's career, right? Like out of anybody.
Yeah.
But hasn't figured out on ways to get Kyle Pitts the ball. Weird situation. Who you got this game? Atlanta -2.5?
Yeah.
You taking the under?
It's so hard to tell without seeing the field and like the weather with my eyes. You know, I know it's supposed to be bad. Probably the under just because the wind is supposed to be wild. Kind of saw what it did in that Ohio State game. Could be a sloppy game like that. I think the running backs are good plays. Patterson obviously is a good play. And then I know you don't like it. We'll get to it, but Dante Foreman, I think you're going to have a nice game.
That's funny. I do have him listed on this. Okay, I take the under and I take Atlanta -2.5 all day, really. I think that's easy. That's easy money. All right, so let's get into some of the plays that we have for the week. I'm going to kick off here. I'll bounce it back to you if you have any, or we could keep rolling or get your thoughts on it. This one should be a given, and I feel like I'm going to curse this one when I say it. Jay Fields against Detroit.
You better not curse it.
So the games this week, all relatively low over-unders. Have you looked at that at all?
I have not, to be honest with you.
None of them are projected to be huge. I can see this one getting insane. There's 2 games I can see getting insane, and this is one of them. So against last week, it's funny because in our notes you had this about A-Rod, but Detroit's defense against quarterbacks has been so horrific.
Mm-hmm.
In general, they're like the worst defense in the league. They showed some signs of life last week. They did. They picked off A-Rod 3 times, and honestly played good defense. But I am not counting that to slow down what has been a red hot Justin Fields as of late. They're starting to get the things working right. They're getting him rolling out. They're getting him. It builds his confidence, man. He is getting out there and he's throwing with confidence. Like he's an easy play for me this week.
So is Mooney for me.
I have Mooney in my DFS line.
I love it. I love Mooney this week.
I see, like, these are streaming options, right? Like, again, there's this is a weird week for QBs in the sense of like, you know who you're starting here.
Mm-hmm.
The 3 streaming options I have against is who I was considering in DFS. Russell Wilson against Tennessee's poor secondary. I think that's a good matchup. Daniel Jones versus Houston's terrible rush defense. They have good secondary. I'm actually hoping that and thinking that Daniel Jones can kind of tear up this Houston rush defense and score that way. And my last one, I told you I'm going back to the well. Trevor Lawrence against Kansas City. I'm expecting this. This is I think this is going to be the highest scoring game of the week. He's my DFS play.
Yeah, I like that. I like him a lot. One, like super sleep. I know you're probably never going to play him. Maybe in a 2 QB league. Jacoby Brissett. Playing against Miami, it's going to be a super high scoring game. They're going to be down probably early. Jacoby's going to have to throw the ball. Their secondary they give up a lot of yards and touchdowns through the air.
They did to Justin Fields last week.
Njoku is questionable. I can see him coming back this week. And if he does,
he hasn't practiced.
Yeah, but there's a lot of rumors circling that he's going to play. Even if he doesn't, I still like I like DPJ. I like Amari Cooper this week. I think there's going to be a lot of air yards, and I think there could be a lot of touchdowns.
Actually, DPJ is on the list when we get to wide receivers for myself. So let's go to some of my. I have some sits this week, and it might be a little bit wild for QB. I'm sitting Jay Herbs, dude. I'm sitting Justin Herbert this week.
I've been talking about it for a little while. I'm in. I get that.
He doesn't have his favorite weapons. He goes. I have it written down. He goes against a tough defense. I don't have the defense. Hold on, give me a second. It's a really good defense. San Francisco. He goes against San Francisco. Like, he doesn't have both. Most likely won't have both his weapons. This is a week you can bench Justin Herbert, and oh man, I hope I'm not next week looking at like process. My process was right, but this doesn't make sense to start him this week.
Yeah, mine is Kirk Cousins. He is going up against Buffalo. I think, especially if Josh Allen does not play, it's going to be a lot closer game. There's going to be a lot less passing. It's going to be I think it'll be a very run-heavy game if Allen doesn't play.
Buffalo's defense has given up a ton on the ground.
Yeah, and their ground defense isn't great. Their air defense is awesome. Like,
I think 300 or something.
They don't give up a ton of yards through the air. They don't give up touchdowns. They're very stingy against the pass. And again, even if Allen plays, they're probably not going to throw the ball 50 times. So I expect this to be a lot lower scoring game, a lot run heavy, kind of clock management and letting that clock run down quickly. Not quickly, but longer. So that's, Kirk, I can't play him this week.
It's actually one of the quarterbacks that I had on this sitting list is Dak Prescott and Kirk Cousins. I just think both of those are already on that borderline streaming options anyways.
Yeah.
That I think you could find better ones. I think the ones we mentioned above will be a little bit better. I'm not calling for horrific games from either of these guys, but like, wouldn't shock me if both of them finished with 12, 13 points.
Yeah. I'm with you.
Those are the three sits I have for QBs. Is anybody else you wanted to add?
No, Kirk was my guy.
RBs. This one is kind of a contingent one. Tony Pollard. He's got to be started this week, right? If Zeke is out.
Even if Zeke plays. Like,
you think he start him?
Yeah, if Zeke plays, I don't think that he's going to get a ton of work.
Okay.
It was an MCL strain, like knee problem. I know they're not going to run him out if it's not good, but I still think they're going to ease him into the game.
And I mean, to your point, let me give you a little bit of background on this. Green Bay has given up over 100 rush yards in 8 out of 10 games that they've had this season.
Mm-hmm.
Brees was RB6 against them in week 6. Antonio Gibson was RB16 week 7. Singletary, not great, RB32 in week 8. And then Jamal Williams and DeAndre Swift didn't obviously combine their points. Jamal was RB22. Swift was RB26 last week. So, like, RBs are putting up points against them. I think, especially if Pollard has his backfield by himself, he can easily finish in the top 15 RB position. I could see your point to make a play for him if Zeke plays, maybe he just gets a little bit more work.
Mm-hmm.
From the talks of what I'm hearing out of Dallas and what I'm reading is that Tony Pollard kind of got gassed last week. Like, he's not ready to take on a huge role.
I mean, the guy ran for like 200 yards. So
he didn't have that many carries though. Like, it wasn't a lot. And the thing that he says and that I was reading is like, this is why he keeps this burst, is because he kind of has these limited touches as of now. Look, that could change. That could change next year. It could change in 3 weeks, but I'm just letting you know they don't necessarily want to give him a workhorse role yet.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. When you're running for 50 yards a clip, like, you're going to get gassed. I get it. He was on the field the entire game. They didn't really give anybody else any cracks at it. So that's fine, even if Zeke's there, right? I still think Pollard gets a good amount of carries, and we've seen what he can do with decent amount of touches. Like, he's an elite player.
Yeah. I have another one here. I actually have quite a bit of RBs because it's a little bit rough on Bymageddon. Jeff Wilson versus Cleveland. You probably hate it.
He's in my DFS play.
Ooh, he was RB8 last week, had 49% snaps on a short ass week. He got traded on Tuesday, comes back with half the snaps. Buys and injuries, have really kind of relegated Wilson into every lineup that I have him. He's in every one I have.
Yeah, I don't hate it.
He's at least an RB2 this week is my kind of prediction on Jeff Wilson against Cleveland. The rush defense has not been good. Our defensive tackles are bad. Yeah. Any thoughts on that? Anybody you want to add? I have another one here.
I'll add David Montgomery against Detroit. I know you don't like it.
Oh no.
Yeah, I think.
No. Are you DFSing him?
No, I'm not DFSing him, but I think he's a good play. So Detroit, we know they're not great against the run, even though they played well last week. I kind of put that up to the Green Bay Packers being awful on offense. And in my opinion, is what's gonna start happening with what's going on with Fields. Fields is so prolific. He's taking so much attention from the defense that the run game should start becoming an issue for defenses. When you focus in on a rushing quarterback and a quarterback now that he's starting to throw the ball a little bit more consistently, they're gonna have to honor that. David Montgomery should have some wide open lanes, and against a bad defense like this, he can put up some points.
I'll give you my reasoning here shortly. I have Cordarrelle versus Carolina tonight as well, and pretty self-explanatory. I think it's going to be a pretty run heavy from Atlanta if the weather's bad. Carolina.
That's why I like Foreman. That's why I like Foreman.
But in my deep plays, I have noted Khalil Herbert.
Yeah, I'm going Monty.
I am so scared about Monty. Like, I think people need to sell, but it's probably too late. So I actually am taking the flip side of that. I'm going Khalil Herbert. Maybe that's another additional bet that we need to have. Again, deep play for me. He's not in my DFS, although I did have him plugged in there for a short minute. Malik Davis is another deep play. He's running back in Dallas. If Zeke is out, look, it just says Demont. Why does it say Facebook?
That's weird.
User?
That's interesting.
Yeah. I don't know who that is.
That's right, Demont.
I have a feeling it's Willie. I got a lot of shit from Willie and Lewis about my Demont hate. Malik Davis is another RB that I'm looking to plug in my lineups only if Zeke is out. I think he, as I mentioned just shortly ago, Tony Pollard might be gassed out a little bit. He needs to get another running back in there, and this Green Bay rush defense, like we just both talked about, is pretty poor. Robbie, let's move over to RB sits. Is there anyone that you wanted to talk about?
Let me see who
you have. It is Willie. I can bring him up.
Both Green Bay running backs.
Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon against
Dallas. So I'm sitting them. I don't think they didn't do anything against Detroit. Then for me, I can't see them doing anything against one of the best rush defenses in the league. So you're
benching Aaron Jones is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Obviously, if you have the ammo, but like if I have Jeff Wilson, probably plugging him in.
Yeah.
Tony Pollard, putting him in over him.
Would Aaron Jones fall out of your RB2, or you're saying he's a low end RB2?
I think he falls outside this week.
Okay. I have first James Conner against the Rams. I think it's going to be a tough matchup. Their game against the run has been tough. The way that I can see him kind of sneaking into a decent, startable week is if he gets a ton of checkdowns. It just seems that the Rams haven't really been stopping the pass too much where he's going to have to get checked down to James Conner, but we'll see. I am benching him if I have him. I have a note on here. I can't start Dante Foreman. I can't do it. It's fake.
I don't care what you say.
It's fake. I am not starting him tonight. At last bit is not a sit, even though you commented on it. but I just wanted to talk about this. Dameon Pierce worries me a little bit this week. The Giants have been tough against the run. I thought about this, though. The reason he's not a sit is because the dude is still going to end up with 25 attempts.
Yeah. In what world can you sit?
No, because I think it could be like a 25 for 60, 25 for 65 and a TD.
In what world can you sit Pierce? He's so good. Just take it, dude. Just take it.
Look, whatever.
Do me a favor. Just take it.
You know, this is what you give me a lot, and Dameon Pierce is the most worthy one. Short second is ARSB, although he hasn't been, and then I would say Kyle Pitts. Those are the three that I gave you the most pushback about. But you tagged me on a post the other day about Justin Fields, and like,
That's right.
I literally have never talked bad about Justin Fields. I just said, I have said this.
You're picking Daniel Jones over Justin Fields. We've been talking about this.
I know you're taking that out of context, though.
I don't think so.
Well, a little bit. Yeah. I'd probably stay with Daniel Jones the rest of the season from this point forward.
Okay. I'm not going to swear on the podcast tonight.
But that's not like Justin Fields slander. That is more Chicago Bears slander for me. It has nothing to do with Justin Fields. I feel like I go to bat for him all the time. But I say in fantasy and in NFL, I was worried that the Bears were going to ruin him. But I have also.
And look at him now.
Well, yeah, Getsy has come around.
Okay, so what are we talking?
has came around. So it's looking
and you're
good.
Still taking Daniel Jones.
Yes.
He's off script, guys.
Yes.
He's going wild.
But in a separate podcast, when I told you I was on Fantasy Whispers, I said Justin Fields, but that was because Daniel Jones was on a bye. I said, you go Fields here and then hold on Fields.
You know
it's
what we're
super
doing?
Close.
I'm just taking Mario out of here, right? So anyways, here's what we're going to do. Justin Fields is the man for the rest of the season, everybody. Mario is an idiot, and we're just going to roll with it. Welcome back to the podcast, Mario.
Damn, he's the hardest person for me to rank rest of season. I know we got
top 5 QB. Top 5.
Robbie, come on.
Top 5 QB.
Robbie.
What?
No way he's better than Patty as long as Josh Allen is healthy. Lamar. Joe Burrow.
Easy over Burrow for me.
Burrow has been lighting it up.
Easy Burrow over me.
Or Hurts.
Yeah, I'm taking Burrow out of that top 5.
That's silly.
And I think he finishes above Lamar rest of the season.
Wow, Rob. You have him top 4 then. There's nobody else you would have there. It would be like Tua or, I mean, obviously it would have been Herbert.
Yeah.
Dude's not going to run for 173 every time.
There's a case for Kyler Murray. Yeah, is he going to put up 50 points a week? No, dude.
Kyler Murray over Lamar or Burrow?
No, Burrow. That's a tough one for Burrow. I'd have to look more into Kyler. Man, he fades super hard in the second half, though.
What's up with the hate on Burrow right now?
No Jamar Chase.
But Jamar Chase might play next week.
Yeah, I mean, still, even if he does, like he looked good, but
Burrow went through a stretch of 24, 21, 17, 34, 41.
Okay, should we pull up Justin Fields' last 5 games?
No, but Burrow was like the second closest to him. He was.
Whatever, man. I'm just saying. Justin Fields has to be QB1 over the last 5 weeks.
Yes, over the last 5. And I think QB2 or 3 before this week. So he was dominating. He added a 41 ball to his resume.
Yeah, so what are we talking? And he's got terrible defenses the rest of the way.
You're just expecting this to happen for the rest of the season, and it's not going to happen.
Okay.
QB1, yes, not QB1 overall. Did you hear it? Did you hear that correctly? Because I don't want to text in 4 weeks where you're like, told your ass. And I'm like, what do you want me to say?
You better believe it. When he's QB5, you're going to get a text.
Okay. If he finishes QB5, I'll take that one on the chin. God, I freaking get victory lapped on all the time over things that get misconstrued. Wide receivers for the week to start. Juju Smith-Schuster versus Jacksonville. Do you like it?
We're on receivers.
Yes.
Another note, just for the running backs. I'm sitting Denver's running backs this week against Tennessee.
I hope nobody was starting them.
It's bye week, man. I have Melvin Gordon.
I've contemplated Melvin.
I have him on a few teams, and it's super thin, but I'm looking for other options.
All right. So wide receivers, I'm starting Juju Smith-Schuster versus Jacksonville. You want to hear something crazy?
Yeah.
Over the last 4 weeks, which is really the time that Juju has kind of started turning up, he's wide receiver 6.
Yeah. He's been good.
Ready for more craziness?
Yeah.
Obviously, other people have this as well, but there was a buy in there. You had a buy in there, and he's wide receiver 6 over the last 4 weeks. So they're using him different. So I have like, if you can get him for, he's somebody that I'm buying high on, right? And I think after last week, which it was just 10 for 70, which was still a great day for fantasy, maybe there's some concerns from the owner. Mecole Hardman has looked really good over these last 4 weeks as well. Kadarius Toney is now there. So I get your concerns. Mecole Hardman might be a little bit banged up. This playbook doesn't get learned in 1 week for Toney. But for this week, going against Jacksonville, which, again, I think this is a high-scoring game, I'm counting on Juju to kind of tear this defense apart.
Yeah, I like it. Patty Mahomes is he's gained the trust of Mahomes, which is, if you do that, you're going to get just peppered with targets. So I'm with you on this one.
The other one I have is Courtland Sutton. So
my DFS.
He has been poor. That's funny. He's in your DFS. I had him. He may still be in mine. I have to look. He's been bad the last few weeks.
Juju's in my DFS too.
Nice. And I've been seeing a lot of talk about Judy being the guy there, right? Like Judy's emergence means Sutton is gone. No. Sutton has had terrible matchups the last couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Let me kind of talk to you about him. I think it was the last 3. Actually, Jacksonville, he should have 8 on. So it was 2 before that. Played against Sauce Gardner and then Asante Samuel before that. Indianapolis the week before that, who's been great against wide receivers. So last 4 weeks, 3 of those matchups have been rough. Last week, I don't know what happened. He went against Jacksonville. Jacksonville, honestly, should be easy eats.
Russ was hurt. I mean, that factored into it as well. Now Tennessee, that Russ is back, I think we're going to see Sutton come back to wide receiver 2 consistent.
And they're going against Tennessee.
Yeah.
Russ came close to being my DFS play this week, but I just couldn't trust it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I did that a couple weeks ago and it burned me. I don't think you can trust him. I think you can trust Sutton.
I do too.
And Dolchik moving forward. I think those are the 2 guys. Judy's the one for me that if anyone's inconsistent, it's him, especially with Russ. Now that Russ is back.
And I like Judy.
Yeah, but now that Russ is back in the starting QB role, we've talked about it a few times. Like, he doesn't really look at the middle of the field. Dolchik, for whatever reason, he looked very good last week. I'm still concerned with Russ back there. Don't get me wrong. I want to go back and rewatch this last game and see if they used him more outside the hashes. And that's
they
where
post him up a bit. He runs quite a bit of posts.
Yeah, so that for me is what will make him a valuable asset moving forward, is if he's getting outside those hashes. Judy does. He
runs off the line quite a bit.
Yeah, Judy does the majority of his work inside the numbers, and that's where Russ just is not good.
No, I think that's funny that we're on the same page. Tennessee's been poor. They played well against Patty, but Patty still put up a ton of yards against them. And it was weird that it only resulted in, I think, 17 they went into overtime with.
Yeah.
1 on a field goal. I don't think it was a touchdown. 1 on a field goal, if I'm not mistaken.
So like
it was low scoring for the amount of offense that Patty put up against them. So they played great. They really did look better, but they still allowed a ton.
Yeah.
Deep play for me is Donovan People-Jones against Miami. I'm sure Robbie loves that one.
I do. You know my love for him. I talked about it earlier. I think this is a juicy matchup for both Amari and him, especially him, because they're going to focus on Amari. I think it's going to be a good game, man. For both offenses, I think it's going to be a high scoring game.
Dude, I do too. And then there's part of me where I'm like, both these defenses can turn it up. And I wouldn't be surprised if this game finishes 17-10, 17-13. If I had to pick a side, I'd say it's going to be higher.
Yeah.
But I didn't put my trust into that for DFS. Some wide receiver sits I have. I'm not saying sit Devontae Adams. He goes against Indianapolis, though. I just want to say temper some expectations. Don't plug him in a DFS lineup. Colts secondary has been good. Secondary has been good. I'm not saying sit him in fantasy, though. T-Mac against Philly is one of the benches I had. Mentioned it at the top of the show. I'd rather play, who was it? Who did we talk about at top? DJ Moore over T-Mac. I don't want to go against this Philly secondary, dude.
Yeah.
Last one I have is Drake London tonight. Weather's going to play a factor. Mariota wants to get Pitts involved. No point to get Drake London in there. Any to add?
I think an obvious one's Michael Pittman. He's tough to play moving forward.
Until Matt Ryan comes back, yeah.
Yeah, and you're gonna think that think that's gonna happen. I would. You know who's on the roster that I just noticed that's interesting? Nick Foles.
Yeah, I think Ellinger jumped Foles. I think Foles was the QB2.
I could see him coming in at some point.
Yeah.
A deep play for me for wide receivers, Torrey from Green Bay. I think he slides. It's a deep one, but I think he slides into Dubs' role. Another week of practice with Aaron Rodgers. I think we'll see how that goes. They're up against Dallas. So Alan Lazard's going to be on, Diggs will be on Alan Lazard, so he might get a decent matchup. I think they're going to have to throw the ball a little bit in that game. Other than that, I think you hit most of my guys as well. Yeah, I think you hit them.
We'll hit some tight ends, and then we'll get into our DFS play. Tight ends to start. I hate this one. I actually hate both my starts this week, Rob. Foster Moreau versus Indy. Las Vegas going to have to start getting him involved more. They lost Waller. They lost Renfro. Obviously, that's been pretty much weeks without the two of them being super productive. But I think this going on IR changes things. Not only does it change things, I think Indy, like I said, has defensively takes down Devontae better than he has seen for majority of the year. So I think he's going to have to rely on Foster Moreau, maybe Mac Hollins. But even if Indy does well against the wide receivers, Foster Moreau is the guy that I want as the pass catcher for this team this week. And I think they want to get on track, and they're going to have to end up relying on Moreau quite a bit here.
I think you're right. I like it. He's the number 2 option there moving forward. So if you can get him in your leagues, I'd get him regardless. And I think he's going to have a decent second half of the season.
It's like what we said about Cole Kmet. He should just receive the targets, and then you can only hope what happens from there.
Yeah.
Tyler Higbee is the other starter I had. Matthew Stafford might be out, which would mean I think it's John Wolford would come in. Inexperienced QBs, tend to lean to the tight end position. So even if Stafford, Wolford, whoever it is, Arizona has been horrendous to the tight end position. I think they're last or second to last. Higbee's been cold, really cold recently, but I feel like a big Higbee day is coming this week. And if you got scared from the last 2 weeks, feel comfortable about plugging them in here. Super deep. Harrison Bryant versus Miami. There you go, Rob. Another Cleveland plug for you. I know that one's got to be super deep because we did not see anything that warrants this one. it more or less becomes we need offensive pieces for Cleveland. That's my idea behind that one. Miami's defense against tight end is pretty poor. Second one I have is Tanner Hudson versus Houston. Jesus, that's kind of a tongue twister. Tanner Hudson versus Houston. We saw him end up with 10 fantasy points last week. He's filling the Daniel Bellinger role. There's not many weapons there. It just becomes an opportunity play.
Yeah.
Did you have any to add? You want to go to sits?
Cole Kmet. I've been doing
you are just bought in.
I've been doing some deep diving on it. He's going up against Detroit. You know how much I think Detroit's defense is bad, especially against the tight end. This is a big week for Kmet. This can be the week that catapults him into kind of what we thought he was going to be. And if it doesn't happen this week, then I don't think it will happen. So this will be a very telling week. I think he can be a good play. He needs to be a good play. Otherwise, it's back to irrelevancy. Dalton Schultz, I think, is a good play, even though he's going up against pretty good defense in Dallas, or in Green Bay, I'm sorry. Dak Prescott loves him.
Dak loves him.
Yeah, Dak loves him. Over 20 games, he's got about 100, over 1,000 yards in 20 games with Dak. He's got over 1,000 yards, about 100 receptions, and like 8 touchdowns. It's telling, man. It's telling. Dak likes him. So I think moving forward, he's a very good play.
I love Schultz. You guys know that, but it's been hard. It's been a tough season, mostly because of injuries on both Dak and him.
Mm-hmm.
The tight ends list for sit is so short. I mean, it doesn't technically need to exist because it's so hard to bench tight ends, dude. There's so many that are just not productive. I will say this. There's some tough matchups for TJ Hawkinson and Goddard, but you cannot bench them, I don't think, especially after seeing Hawkinson get, I think it was 9 targets.
Yeah, you can't. Who are you benching him for, you know?
Exactly. Here's one that you could still say who you benching him for, but I think this goes back to you harping about it. The one I would bench is Pat Freiermuth. Plays against New Orleans.
I don't hate that at all.
They locked down Baltimore's only weapon last week, Isaiah Likely, to 1 for 24 and a TD. I don't think this is the same case where we get as lucky to get that TD. We've seen Freiermuth get locked down by a good defensive play. Happened in Cleveland in week 2. He got 3 targets on the end of the game. He didn't have a target before. He is guardable. That's not a dig at Freiermuth. He is guardable, though. So I would not be starting him.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you hit it on the head. Likely would have put up.
It was week 2, maybe week 3.
Obviously, he had the 1 catch, 24 yards, but it was for me, that's a fluke play against this defense. They have been so consistent against the tight end all year. It takes a lot for me to play a tight end against it. It's honestly like if you don't have one of the main 2, Kelsey, Mark Andrews, I don't think you can play him.
Who's firefighter? Dolchik over firefighter. Who's
Freiermuth, I'm assuming.
Oh, Dolchik easy.
Dolchik easy.
If it's Freiermuth.
Yeah.
The Muth is not Luth today. This weekend. You got
Evan Ingram would be a sit if he plays. He's dealing with a back injury.
Yeah, I wanted to stack him, but no.
Yeah, he's dinged up. He hasn't practiced all week, so I don't even think he's going to play, to be honest with you. Other than that, like you said, man, it's tough to even make a case to sit anybody.
Yeah. Hop into your DFS plays, dude. Let's hear them.
Well, let's pull it up.
Just say Muth, Willie. The Muth is Luth. That's a fantasy footballer's reference. MUTH.
You go ahead. Go with your no, I got it. Pulled it up. All right, so we're going with Tua.
Damn, screw Cleveland's defense, huh?
just I get they've had a good couple games, but
Jeez.
I'm not sold. Tua 8,100. Tony Pollard, we've talked about him a lot this game. I don't think Zeke's going to play, and even if he does, I think he's very limited, and I think that will help Pollard out even if Zeke plays. Jeff Wilson, talked about him a lot. You love him. Browns rushing defense is not great. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I love to stack QBs and receivers. I'm going with Waddle on this one because Denzel Ward is back for Cleveland. Sorry about that. Denzel Ward's back for Cleveland.
Tyreek is going to be locked down.
I don't know if it's going to be locked down, but he's very good against
small. He's unguardable.
Yes. He's very good against small, quick wide receivers. So
is Emerson going to be on Waddle though?
Even if he is, it's a rookie against one of the most prolific receivers in the game right now. So I'm fine with it. Give me Waddle. I think he's going to be the one that demands the attention of Tua. So that's kind of my big play. I think he's going to have a monster game. Cortland Sutton, we've talked about him a ton.
Nobody locking down Cheetah, Willie.
No, it's not going to happen. Cortland Sutton is, we've talked about him a lot this episode.
This is also like a gut feeling about a Cortland Sutton breakout game.
It's not so much a gut for me. I just think him and Russ have the connection over anyone else on that team. So that's kind of why I'm leaning that way against a bad pass secondary in Tennessee. Juju, you talked about it. It's going to be a high-scoring game. He's got the trust of Patty Mahomes. That's the wide receiver one there. That's who I want to have besides Travis Kelce. Cole Kmet, again, I think this is the week that solidifies where he's at. A terrible Detroit defense against the tight end. Justin Fields, I think, will expose it. He's been a lot better passing as of late. They're trying to get Kmet open in the red zone, so I think he'll come down with a couple touchdowns. Chris Olave against Pitt. Pitt secondary is terrible. Chris Olave is really good. I think it's as easy as that. And then the Saints defense against Pittsburgh. I think that's an easy play. Pittsburgh's offense is garbage. Najee can't do anything. They're talking about benching him for
Jalen Warren.
I picked him up in a few leagues because if he gets the rock, we'll see what happens. But even if he's good, the Saints defense is really good against the run. So I'm all in on that.
So the one concern I have here is Chris Olave. I love this play at face value. You look at it and you're like, this is such a juicy matchup. Possibly problem why he's not in my DFS play this week. TJ Watt is back. Now, TJ Watt isn't going to be guarding Olave. I understand that. But he does change the game quite a bit. And I think he's going to be putting pressure on Dalton a lot. And he has who knows if he's going to be 100%, but he has the ability to put so much, if he's back, which I think he will be, the ability to put so much on Andy Dalton that they're like, okay, we got to get Jameis in there. That is my only concern. And I think Olave is better with Dalton personally. He's been pretty QB proof though.
Yeah, he's QB proof in my opinion.
But in general, that pass rush is going to inhibit this game more than you would like.
That's fair. Even if he's back, I wouldn't expect him to play a ton of snaps.
I saw that matchup and I was like, oh yeah, baby, this is nice. And then I just couldn't, I've been watching TJ Watt news all week.
It was such a big injury for him to come back from that. I don't think they're going to just say, here's 80% of the snaps. I don't see that happening.
What if Kmet sneaks as a top 5 tight end this year?
It's possible.
Our whole podcast would rejoice, along with a good 40 to 50% of Twitter.
Yeah. Except everyone dropped him who had him. So,
yep. My best ball leagues did it.
Yeah. It's a tough one, man.
All right. I'm going to run through I'll do mine pretty quick. I'm going back to the well, baby. Trevor Lawrence. Let's do it again. I'm pairing you up with Christian Kirk. We're running it back. I think Christian Kirk scares me more than Trevor Lawrence does, but then I look at it and I'm like, who's Trevor Lawrence going to throw to? Zay Jones. So I go Trevor Lawrence for 5,400 and Christian Kirk for 5,900. My 2 RBs I spent this week at RB. I don't think it's a very good week to kind of go with the streaming RB. So I went Saquon Barkley against Houston, worst rush defense in the league. And I came back and got it with the Nick Chubb. going against Miami. I felt these were very appropriate spends. I saw a cool stat about Nick Chubb getting to the outside and Miami giving up the most 10-yard gains to the outside. So that kind of convinced me to just spend on that one. Plus, he's been a monster regardless. So I spent. Other wide receivers I got, Darnell Mooney for 5,500. Robbie has said it in nauseum, going against Detroit. George Pickens going against that New Orleans secondary, I think is the play this week. I see a lot of people calling for Deontay. You know what that means? It's George Pickens. Robert Tunyon Funyon is my tight end this week, Rob. It's time. It is time.
Can't do it.
It is time, damn it. He is
It
my
wasn't
tight
last
end.
week. It ain't this week, dude.
He's my tight end this week. I don't care if the matchup's not great. He's going against the Dallas Cowboys. It shows the 8th worst against tight ends, or best, I mean. So they're good against the tight ends. Aaron Rodgers needs to get somebody going. Tunyon is the familiar face that he needs in his life. I do have flexed, like you said, Cortland Sutton. You ready for this defense, which very well could change before the rest? It definitely could change. Right now, I have the Minnesota Vikings as defense.
Against
Buffalo.
If
First
Allen
off,
doesn't play.
I am broke, so it was the cheapest one. But if Allen doesn't play, I'm leaving it.
Yeah.
Case Keenum's a suitable quarterback, but this offense is very much built for Josh Allen. They're not the same.
I like it. I mean, if Allen doesn't play, it's not a bad move.
I know it could bite you in the ass, but again, I'm out of money, and I always put less. I think defense is the hardest thing to predict on a DFS lineup for me. Maybe. Let's see if you do it again. Who's your defense? Saints.
Yep.
George Pickens about to eat up on them.
Okay.
What are your last week 10 thoughts for the week?
Ooh, good one. I don't know. Besides Justin Fields being really good, I'm excited to watch Tony Pollard again. I hope he gets a full workload, close to it.
He's fun to watch.
And then I think we'll get some clarity on a few players like Jeff Wilson, Cole Kmet, some of these players, Dalton Schultz.
What if Fields puts out 13 this week? What happens then against Detroit?
I'd be very nervous.
You know what's another scary thing about Fields is like he takes some hits and he handles them all fine. Like he's been fine, but he takes some hits.
I think he'll learn it. I hope.
Slide.
Yeah, I hope he learns it. He's a special player. That's all I'll say.
All right, dude. Next week, Monday, join Robbie, House, Alex, whatever the three. They'll go over the games for you. Tuesday, join the Robs and me. But Wednesday, we are back. Am I still here? Can you still hear me? We'll have that Accolade Award show. You didn't get to have it yesterday. Up. We'll have it next week. Still hear me?
Good.
Accolade show next Wednesday. If you couldn't hear me. If you're not already following us on Twitter at DadBodFS, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, DadBod Fantasy Squad. That's where you can find our videos. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, where we post all the recordings. What else, Robbie?
All the major streaming platforms.
For myself, for Robbie Bobby. Peace.